What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video today, and in this video I'm going to be assessing flight operations guide from my last 3 Airliners International conventions that I've attended. In the spirit of Airliners International content continuing to come out as we move through August, I'm recording this in very early July. Still working on a bunch of videos right now, but they're all out on my YouTube, so go check them out if you want to see all kinds of exciting content from the Airliners International 2024 convention in Kansas City. What a phenomenal time that was. I'm so glad I got to go, and it's the best one that I've attended yet. And I know that next year's show in Atlanta, June 25th through 28th at the Delta Flight Museum, is going to be even better, because we'll be at a much bigger airport with a lot more operations. A good plane spotting meetup is likely going to happen. We're going to be pushing for it for this next show. So yeah, very excited about what the future holds for airliners, and while we're at it, we'll take a look back at the last 3 shows that I've attended by looking at the flight operations guide that I have for each of the 3 shows I've been to. So basically, the flight operations guide, this is their fancy way of saying, here's our schedule for what we're going to do at Airliners International. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the 2022 flight operations guide here. Sorry about that, my computer's acting a little weird in the background, so I'm trying to work with it, make sure, because it's been acting a little weird on me lately with videos not loading right or crashing on me and, you know, losing all kinds of work and all that, so I'm going to have to check on that real quick, so sorry about that, guys. Alright, here we go. So here is the first flight operations guide. This is for the Airliners International 2022 convention in Chicago, June 23rd through 25th of 2022 at the Hilton Rosemont Chicago O'Hare Airport Hotel. This is my first Airliners, and a little backstory as to how I found Airliners International. So if some of you guys may know Alpine Aviation, we call him Dom for short, he has been going to these shows since about 2015, and that year he was in Atlanta, so it's been to Atlanta now 3 times if you include this upcoming show in the last 10 years, which is just phenomenal. So great to see that Atlanta is pretty much in the rotation for the Airliners International convention. And so he posted about when he was at the Phoenix show in 2021 in a little group chat that I'm in, and I was very intrigued by it. So I did my research, I looked it up, and I saw just how awesome this show is, and there wasn't a whole lot of videos of it on YouTube, so I was like, I gotta make a bunch of videos on this when I go. So I was able to get my stuff booked over the winter, and then I told my friend Connor about it. He was very intrigued about it as well, and as they say, the rest is history. Now, I wasn't able to get everything booked until I think it was around May, so like a month before the show, because he didn't know for sure if he was going to be able to go. But thankfully, his schedule worked out to where he could show up, and we met for the first time, and it was a great time that we had. We didn't do any tours, and the only thing that we really did was a plane spotting meetup that he organized. It was just a small group of us within the group chat, and some Chicago spotters that also showed up as well. And a few other people did also make their way out once they heard that there was a little spotting meetup going on. So that's kind of the humble beginnings of what will hopefully become a tradition with airliners, is a spotting meetup at the airport that we go to. So in this case, it was O'Hare. So here we go. Let's go ahead and open up the flight operations guide for 2022 here in Chicago. Let's flip it open to the back of the front cover. So there's a whole advertisement on Gemini jets, some of the new releases that they had at the time, and then here is their welcome page. A little information about them. Welcome to Chicago. It has always been the hope of the World Airline Historical Society to bring Airliners International to the Windy City, and now we have done it. So surprisingly, it was their first time in Chicago, so I'm really glad I caught the show at a good time, because this was within a day's drive in theory, but we actually did it in 2 days on the way there, stopping in Rochester, Minnesota for a night, just so we could break up the drive. So that means I left on Tuesday afternoon. I didn't get there until around like early afternoon on Wednesday, somewhere around there. So Chris Limmer, Bill Demarest putting the show together, and then you have Phil Brooks, who's the president of the World Airline Historical Society, so he's mentioned in there too. Let's take a look here. So here is the flight plan. This is their schedule. Tuesday registration, Wednesday registration, Thursday is the collectible show. They have Friday with the collectible show, and Saturday as well. And the board meeting, which is every Saturday, and also membership meeting for those part of the society. And then some special recognition stuff, along with Atlantic Models advertisement there on the bottom. You can see all kinds of people mentioned in here as well. Nick Benson with Jet Tip is in there. Jim Jet Thompson, who's actually been to every Airliners International. I didn't know about him until this most recent show, so we're hoping to get an interview with him in Atlanta, or at least some point in between. So I'd love to get in touch with him and talk with him about what he's saw out of airliners over the 47 years that he's gone, which is just phenomenal. It's like the club with the people that have been to every Super Bowl, for instance. Like there's been 58 of them now. And I think there is I think 2 or 3 left that have been to every Super Bowl. The rest have unfortunately passed. But back on topic to airliners, here's the vendor table layout. This is the Lindbergh room, and then they had some rooms on the second floor as well. So we actually had the convention split up a little disorganized, but thankfully it wasn't all that bad. There's a map of O'Hare and also Midway, which I didn't go to, and then we have the tour information for airliners here at O'Hare. So they had some American and United Station operation tours. Some ramp tours at O'Hare, a night maintenance tour, which is pretty cool, and then there's some security instructions, which looks like they misspelled instructions, unfortunately, but then here's a little World Airline Historical Society advertisement, talking about their membership and other benefits that you get, and then this is the seminar schedule, which not a whole lot on here. I'm a bit surprised that there's only 6 seminars total, so 2 per day. 2 on Thursday, David H. Stringer with America's Trunk Airlines in the 1960s, 5 p.m. Brian Crooks, Airline Career Opportunities. 1 p.m. Captain Tom Livesey, which I did go to one of his seminars at this year's show. My Airline Career, and then Michael Haupt, I think is how you say it. Chicago, Shaping the Aviation Industry. And then Saturday, 11 a.m., Tom Livesey with John Proctor, Chicago Aviation Photograph Collection. And then we have Werner Bud Lindquist at 1 p.m., Organizing, Preserving, and Collecting Airline Memorabilia by eBay specialist and eBay store owner Pugman, 1948. And then the Saturday night banquet, the featured guest speaker, Howie Franklin, former U.S. Air Force steward, who is the only steward to serve 5 presidents on Air Force One, the 707 and the 747. And then there's some advertisements on the back. We have JJ postcards. That is not my business, just to clear things up. That's not something that I'm affiliated with, even though the name's pretty similar to me. They have a jet tip advertisement, which I'm a very veteran user of. Love their service. And then Brand of Boutique here on the back. So Airliners International 2022, that was a lot of fun. I had a great time with everyone. And when I saw that the next show was in Dallas, I was like, that's a little far, but I enjoyed it a lot, so I'm going to make every effort I can to get to this next show. And sure enough, I did. Got everything booked by February, I think it was. Got the flights and the registration, all that. Of course, the flights were horrendously expensive because that's just how American Airlines is. There's no competition on DFW, so we do need airlines like Southwest to come to Sioux Falls. But here we go. So this is the DFW 2023 Flight Ops Guide. June 22nd, 24th, the Hyatt Regency DFW Airport. A phenomenal time. We got tons of new people there with the promotion. Many more people within our group showed up, which was great. So it was great to see them all. Bit sad, of course, when we had to leave, but with the second year, it was a lot easier this time around. So I'll talk more about that a little later. And let's go ahead and take a look. So I think with how much promotion we did, I think there's going to be a little bit more in this one compared to 2022. So here's another Gemini Jets advertisement, which is to be expected. And then we have Welcome to Dallas. Dallas has so much to offer to the airline fan. DFW is the second busiest airport in the world. With over 50 passenger and cargo airlines, DFW is an aircraft spotter's dream. With all the cool tours we are offering this year in our host hotel at DFW Terminal C, AI 2023 will be one of our most memorable shows, and it most certainly was, even for me. And they say, welcome to Airliners 2024, but that was obviously a typo. You can see Steve Cosgroves joins the list along with Chris Slimmer and Bill Demarest, who put the show together, and then Phil Brooks, still president of the World Airline Historical Society. And moving along, here's the flight plan from last year's convention in Dallas. So we have Tuesday registration, Wednesday registration, not a whole lot changing here. Pretty much kind of rinse and repeat in a way. And then special recognition, this time around got some different folks in here. You can see Elliot Epstein in there for Gemini Jets. They were not there at the Chicago show, which was a little surprising, but thankfully they did make it to the Dallas show. I did get to talk with them for a bit, and it was a great time. Special thank you to our team of volunteers. We have Michael Hathaway, Gabby Holcomb, David Powell, who I do know, Claudia Sayers, I also know her, Michael Restevo, Loretta Loringer, and Stephen Puddle. So those are various volunteers, and also Connor helped out as well, but he was not mentioned in this one. He is mentioned in this year's Flight Operations Guide. Here's a vendor table layout for the Enterprise Ballroom. Thankfully, everybody in one single ballroom makes it much easier. And then there's a layout for DFW oriented east-west. So you have west here and east, so it's oriented to the east. And then Dallas left field here, on this page. And then here's the tour information for DFW. You can see the list is much more extravagant. Southwest Tech Ops, Frontiers of Flight, American Airlines Maintenance Hangar Tour, Southwest Tech Ops, FAA Fort Worth Air Traffic Control, CR Smith, DFW Ramp Tours, and DC-3. There's all they had DC-3 flights, not the one that's at the CR Smith, because that one isn't airworthy. World Airline Historical Society there once again. And then there is the keynote speaker for 2023, Captain Bonnie Tiburzi Caputo. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. First female pilot to fly for a major U.S. airline. Connor did go to that year's banquet, but I did not. But I was fortunate enough to change that for this year. I have Atlantic models, and here's Chris Slimmer's business card in there. Always buying something. Rare airline-issued postcards, airport postcards, vintage airline record albums, safety cards, timetables, other airline and transit items, but no models. So just keep that in mind. And there's JJ postcards once again. Jet Tip also in here again, and then Braniff International, which is fitting for DFW. And then Airways Magazine is here on the back as well. Dallas was phenomenal. A lot of new people that we got out there, and we knew that with the momentum that we have from Dallas, we need to do something big for Kansas City, because it is a smaller city, and thankfully it got pulled off really well. We had a couple miscues with some parts of the convention and some of the tours, but thankfully the rest of it went smoothly and we were able to move on from it rather quickly. So thankfully we didn't have any major screw-ups that happened in that time that we were in Kansas City. Most memorable time of my life for sure, and I'm very fortunate to have been a part of it. And here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look. Airways Magazine on here, and then we have a bit of a different layout here. Welcome to Kansas City. Living in close by Lawrence, Kansas, I am very familiar with all the wonderful things to do around the Kansas City Metro. Before or after Airliners International, I trust you've had time to see the World War I Museum, the Nelson Art Gallery, Union Station, maybe taken in a Royals or Monarchs baseball game, and more. I know all of our very friendly Kansas City people have shown you that great Midwest hospitality. I didn't do anything around Kansas City other than the tours, unfortunately. This year, we returned to Kansas City for the first time since 2007. Thanks again to Steve Cosgrove, Chris Slimmer, and Bill Demers for their hard work in organizing our yearly get-together. Please thank them when you see them, and they certainly got their fair share of thanks and appreciation from all of us, especially all the younger ones, because we are very thankful to have those people putting together a show like this, and especially recognizing that there's such a young crowd now coming to the show so often and putting it all over the internet. We are very fortunate to be in that position to do so with the following that we have, the following base that we have on various platforms, and just so much more fun. Flight plan, and that's the same as pretty much the past 2 years, so nothing different there. And then special recognition. My good buddy Connor's in here. Unfortunately, they did misspell his last name, but thankfully Connor did receive an apology for it, so hopefully next year they'll be able to correct that. So yeah, otherwise it's pretty much the same crew in there. Troy Kimmel and Paul Poltz, they are new folks in there. David Powell, he's also now on the board for the society, which is awesome. They announced that at the membership meeting on Saturday. So congratulations to Dave. Hopefully he enjoys that. I look forward to hearing what he's got coming up in the future. Planning committee and also guest speaker information. There's some really good stuff in there. And then here's the vendor table layout. We have the Shawnee and Kansas ballroom, which was packed. And then there's the airport diagram for Kansas City with a new terminal. And also for the Charles B. Wheeler Downtown Airport. And then the tour information. TWA Museum, Amelia Earhart, Jet Midwest, TriStar Experience, National Weather Service Aviation Weather Center, and Friday Night of the Props Barbecue. Very nice information. And then there's a World Airline Historical Society. They got a new logo this year, which looks great. And then there's a keynote speaker for Noah Phillips in search of the Yak-40, other aircraft from the former Soviet Union. And then there's information for Airliners 2025, June 25th through 28th at the Delta Flight Museum at the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Very excited about it. Chris Slimmer's business card is down there as well. Aviation postcards. And then there's Jet Tip. Document tomorrow's history today. And then Gemini Jet's now on the back this time. Braniff International here on the back cover. They have the Braniff History and Architecture Conference, Saturday, September 14th. Get your tickets at braniffinternational.com. Not too familiar with that. I'll have to look into it, but I don't think, I'm not going to be able to go to that. But hopefully there will be a good turnout for that conference. And that is all I have for the Airliners International flight operation guides that I have acquired on the 3 shows that I have attended: Chicago, Dallas, and Kansas City. Airliners International is just phenomenal. I'm very fortunate to have been to the show for 3 years now, and hopefully number 4 will be coming up here next year to start making plans a little later on in the fall when they announce more information on the hotels. But more than likely, the Renaissance Concourse and a nearby Hilton will be utilized for the convention. Show rates have not yet been announced, but I imagine it's going to be a little higher at the Renaissance, so just be prepared, budget accordingly for that. And also, if you're flying especially, make sure you budget for that. I'm going to have to fly, of course, to Atlanta. I may try to do something special before Airliners, perhaps meet up with some people, go to some cool places, but I don't know what exactly I'm going to do just yet. It's still a year out, so I have not really narrowed down my options as to what I want to do. But I do have a couple ideas in mind, and I'm going to be exploring them best I can as we move later into the summer and into the fall and winter months. So with that being said, that is the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.